It's going to be Best versus Soulkey, and Best, obviously a fantastic player, but can he actually beat Soulkey? That's what I really want to know. So over here in the top left, that's going to be our Zerg player in the brown, Soulkey, who's done a fantastic job so far in clawing his way back into the series. Can he take it all the way? His opponent down here in the red, the unstoppable force, the PvT master, it is going to be Best. Now, we always talk about Best as being a fantastic Protoss player in terms of his PvT. His PvT and even his PvP are really, really good because Best is a master of being able to get a lot of gateway units and position them in a very nice arc, very nice line, and attack at just the right angles and at just the right configurations to completely dismantle another large army. That is what Best is well known for. He's very good at these large-scale army control tactics, right? But what he's really terrible at is he's really terrible at a lot of high-tech unit control. His unit control is really not the best when it comes to units made outside of the gateway. So when we talk about PvZ in particular, a lot of it boils down to how well you control your Corsairs, how well you keep them alive, things like that. And that is not Best's forte. It is definitely one of his weaker areas. So typically you'll see Best go for very gateway heavy styles, even in PvZ, where he'll go for a very early 8 gate or whatever and start trying to push out very early with tons of Dragoons instead of the more traditional style, which is where you sit back with the Corsairs, get a whole bunch of damage done, do a lot of finessey things until you have a lot of storms, take a third, and then slowly take a fourth behind that as well. You'll see Best just like push out with tons and tons of gateway units, not worrying about things like Storm, not even worrying about things like getting late game Reavers and things like that. He's very comfortable just having large amounts of gateway units. We'll see if that's the case. This game he's going to be opening up for the very aggressive style with the gateway first, so it's going to allow him to start pushing out very early. This game, Soulkey did go for the hatch first, so he's going to be in a little bit of a rougher situation in terms of being able to defend. This one drone is going to try to delay this Zealot a little bit, but Best is doing a really good job of keeping on top of that drone, making sure that he does damage if it tries to walk in front of him, but otherwise just moving in a straight line. Behind this, he's going to take a very fast Nexus, so this looks like it is not going to be the 3 Zealots coming out immediately. It's just going to be this 1 Zealot for right now, just putting on a little bit of pressure. The second one on the way. And this is going to cause a little bit of trouble for Soulkey, but as long as Soulkey saves up his larva, he should be in a decent spot. As you can see, he saved up quite a bit of larva in his main. He's going to be able to get at least 6 lings out. It's just going to be able to push this back pretty easily. The second Zealot is going to come out and start annoying things in the natural as well, so that's going to be very annoying. For those of you that don't know, the reason why we bring along a probe is because a Zealot will 3-shot a ling, but with a probe hit, it will actually only 2-shot it. So that is the reason why you usually bring along probe. Probe does minuscule amounts of damage, but enough to be meaningful. Unfortunately, looks like Best microed horribly there, so ends up losing a lot more than he should have. And Best trades very, very cost efficiently there. Behind this, Best is... Soulkey trades very, very cost efficiently with his lings there. He's going to continue to build lings. He's already got that ling speed on the way, so the build was much better executed in this game in terms of getting tons of lings, moving them out across the map. And Best really needs to get this wall off pretty soon, make sure he can get this cannon up. This is a pretty difficult spot to be in, especially with this many lings moving out across the map. And he's actually even going to have to pull a couple of probes just to make sure that this forge doesn't go down. But he's going to lose a couple of these probes in the process. Again, Best micro just completely failing right here. He's not doing a very good job, and lings are actually going to be able to get in. And on top of this cannon, what a huge mistake coming out from Best. He does manage to actually find to push this away. Soulkey instead just going to run into the main, but we saw last time what happened when Soulkey gets to run into the main. He gets to do whatever he wants, and with all of this lane aggression that's coming out, it can be very, very difficult to hold against it. Luckily, Best is in a slightly better spot than his former ally, Mini, who died to all this pressure, but it's still so scary. Every single time these Lings run down could be the very end of this game, pretty much right off the bat, but still no wall off. Best just hasn't been able to get a wall off, and he's going to lose all the rest of his Zealots. This is the beginning of the end. So many Lings over here going to be able to kill off tons and tons of probes. Meanwhile, behind this, the economy is going pretty strong overall for Soulkey. He's just going to continue to rally across Lings pretty shortly. Actually, it looks like he may have built a round of drones, so going a little bit more economically. And at this point, it doesn't even matter because you've already done so much damage. I think if he had killed the cannon at the front, he probably would have gone for an extra round of Lings, but in this case, feeling a little bit more comfortable just doing a lot of economic damage and getting his own economy booming and thriving. And you can see he's probably going to put stuff back on gas pretty soon after he gets this 4th hatch. I'd be surprised if he went all the way to a 5th hatch. That would be very, very greedy. 5th hatch without any gas. It looks like that may be what he does do. No, never mind. He does put stuff back on gas, so gas count is moving back up yet again, and these Lings continuing to do tons and tons of damage, picking off more probes. This has been a nightmare for Best to hold, and these Lings even running out across the map trying to trap this one Zealot, doing quite a bit of damage to him, but that is going to be the end of that for Soulkey, and behind this is probably going to be putting down that Hydra and going for the follow-up Hydra bust. This is what you do when you get a lot of damage done to a Pross player who has gone very heavily for Gateway first build and taken a lot of damage. You can just follow up with a 3-hatch Hydra build, and there's not really anything that Protoss can do about it because they don't have the tech up. They've fallen so far behind. They've focused so much on getting a lot of Zealots out, and it's so easy to just walk up and completely annihilate him. So at this point, Soulkey is in a fantastic position. He's got 5 hatches. We're going to be going into 5-hatch Hydra because he had that extra economy behind this. This is a gorgeous position to be in as a Zerg player. No doubt the Best will just completely die to this next follow-up attack. There's really no way to actually hold it off unless he gets a chance to snipe all the Overlords out in the front and get a DT up fast enough, but the Citadel of Adun isn't even out yet, and there are about to be a ton of Hydras moving out across the map. Even taking a 6th hatch at this 4th base, Soulkey is so confident right now. He's got everything in his hands. Oh my gosh, what a baller. Even these Lings still continuing to do damage in the main. Another probe going down, and you can see that this has been very, very rough for Best right now. He's going to have to add on a safety cannon. There's going to need more cannons than that, though, to actually deal with what's coming his way, but I don't even think he can stop it. Even if he sniped every Overlord, I still think that Soulkey has enough economy to just blast out 2 to 3 control groups of units over here and just win the game outright. More cannons coming down for right now. The Hydra count isn't very high for Soulkey right now. He definitely did play very, very greedy with his drone count with his extra bases. So this is a bit, I think, a bit of a mistake, but he is putting a little bit of pressure on his opponent. Eventually, he's going to start whittling away this wall so that he can attack it outright. But he's got to be a little bit careful not to lose too many Overlords back to his bases. That can definitely be a danger. He's going to run up here and snipe a cannon. One cannon does go down. He's going to be a snipe the next one. Looks like the next one is going to go down. The probe drill is pretty decent, but not going to be enough. And now this base is wide open. There's so many gaps here to actually attack this forge, to attack this gateway and start doing some serious damage. Soulkey having a couple of idle larvae over there, so a little bit confusing. Maybe taking a few too many bases too early, but so far this has been really, really good. Here comes the Templar Archives, going to be able to finally start making some DTs, but this is what I'm talking about. Best Corsair control is not very good, so he's actually going to lose one of those for free, and that's a really big problem for him right now. He really needs those Corsairs if he wants to make Corsair DT work. He may just try to go for the High Templar for the Storm to push this back, but at this point in the game, it's so hard to actually get anything done. with just a couple of storms. There's going to be so much coming out across the map, and now that Soulkey is on comfortably on 4 bases, this is insane. This is so much coming out from Soulkey right now, and looks like he is actually just deciding to camp the front right now. He's just going to hang out, not really too worried about busting in the front and doing too much damage. And behind this, he's got tons and tons of units just pouring out across the map. He's got an Overlord there, so DT is not going to be able to do too much damage. And to follow up, it's going to be those High Templar, but I'm not sure the Storm's going to be out by the time these units get up in critical mass. More and more Hydras just flooding in. But I'm a little bit confused why Soulkey hasn't won already. I feel like Soulkey should be much higher in supply. Seems like he really is focusing on that macro game. Very, very heavily wants to go into tons and tons of drones and get a very strong late game lead, but he could have already won the game by now. It's so insane that he hasn't actually done it. Gonna lose another Overlord, which is a bit of a problem for him, but not too much of a problem considering he's got these 4 bases mining and tons of production. I'm still surprised though that we haven't seen many of those Hydras. He really should be over 100 supply right now, so it's a bit confusing to see that. Hopefully his supply will explode pretty soon. But at this point, he's slowly missing his timing windows. Once enough storms get out, it's going to be impossible to actually break this. And it's going to be hard to ever actually push in here. He may be going for the big lurker contain as well while just taking the rest of the map. But at this point, it just feels pointless. It feels like a little bit too much for Soulkey, but he is going to be, finally does have Overlord speed, so he's a little bit safer now in terms of being against DTs. Even if there were a lot of Corsairs out, he'd be able to do whatever he wants. Are these drops incoming? Or those might actually just be spotting. Okay, so those are just spotting, looking for drops, and meanwhile, he's going to be making some lurkers in the front. Are these drops? No, this is just a scout. See what's going on inside that space. Soulkey may be playing it a little too safe. This is almost comically safe right now. The lurker contain is beginning right now, so this is going to be very brutal. Behind this, I imagine Soulkey is going to take as many bases on the map as he possibly can. Yep, there goes a 5th base now as well. Probably going to be heading down into a 6th base fairly soon as well. Gonna allow him to basically do whatever he wants going into the rest of the game, and just keep his opponent contained on 2 bases until he bleeds dry. This, I think, is a little overly safe from Soulkey. Soulkey could have easily switched into Muta, sniped the Templar, and walked in with a bunch of Hydras by now, but looks like he really wants to go for the power overwhelming lead. He doesn't want to win in a standard fashion, wants to do something a little bit crazy. Couple of Corsairs, or sorry, Scourge out now to pick off those Corsairs, and I think, God, there's just so much stuff coming out across the map. Look at that mini-map, absolutely insane. But it's not like he can actually just run this in, right? Because if he tries to run in, he's just going to die. So he still has to just kind of sit here, contain his opponent, get all the vision out of the map, prevent any sort of drops from incoming while he contains at the front. And then it's just a matter of getting all of his high-tech units up, continuing to build units to push out at the front, and just slowly starving his opponent out. So this is the style that I will sometimes play, but that's because I'm a bad player and I don't know what's going on. Soulkey should have known that he could kill his opponent like 6 times over by now. A little bit surprising that he is staying so long here, just kind of chilling out. So the Observer is out. Observer is quite difficult to deal with, but fun fact what you can do is get a control group of Lings and an Overlord with 2 Scourge and another control group and just run them forwards, and the Scourge will actually snipe off the Observers pretty nicely. So, and it's really hard for the pros to actually focus down the Scourge before they get to the Observer. It's a fun little tactic you can do, and I think that's something that you'll start to see there. Yeah, as you can see, the units have been hotkeyed together there, and that's probably what we'll see Soulkey do the next time those units come forward. So here goes. They run forward, snipe off one of those Observers, snipes off 2 of them, 3 of them. So no more Observers. He basically buys himself a lot of time to just kind of sit here, build more and more Lurkers, and just kind of hang out at the front. Eventually, this will slowly start to go in favor of Protoss, but it's going to take a very, very long time. Honestly, it's probably going to take until Reavers for him to actually break out of there. And by that time, Soulkey will have so much economy on the map. He'll have done so much damage that Best won't really have any steam to actually move out across the map and win the game. Sandman says Soulkey thinks this is the campaign. Yeah, that's pretty much. Oh my gosh. More units moving in right here. Really good storms coming out so far from Best. Going to be able to kill off a lot of these units, but he is hemorrhaging units in the process as well. You can't just be cost efficient versus this. You have to be mega ultra cost efficient versus this. You have to not only kill this army, you have to kill it without losing anything every single time. And that's just, it's so impossible to do. Another observer got sniped there, as you saw. And Soulkey is just going to be sitting here, hanging out forever. He's never going to move away from this. This is the most obnoxious style to play against. If you're a Protoss player, you probably hate this to death, because literally you can just walk across lings, like one control group at a time, and just do this. There's nothing your opponent can do about it. It's really, really annoying. Now even adding on a couple of swarms going to be able to make it much harder for the Protoss to actually get anything done here. The storms are getting kind of low, so it's going to be hard for Zerg to actually break out of here. The lurkers are just too strong underneath that swarm, and this is the rest of this Protoss army just getting completely annihilated. More units flooding in from Soulkey. He's still got like another 4 control groups of lings, so he's fine. Gonna finally be able to push into here. Gonna start killing off cannons, and this has been a slow death for Best, but Best finally going down. Soulkey taking yet another game for Zerg and another Protoss fall.